How about now? There. Well, hello everyone. Welcome back. You know how they say in television, they used to say in television, and we're back when they came back from a commercial. And so apparently, while I was in the midst of waxing and waning yesterday, Facebook decided it had had enough. Now, I'm not going to take it personally. I don't think that anybody in the decision making said, okay, really? There's got to be some way we can stop her. Oh, wait. So, cheers. Today, when I woke up fairly early this morning, I was thinking about a couple of things that are, you know, sometimes we're just so silly, so silly, so silly. I saw an item on the news about the additives that are in cereals, breakfast cereals, popular breakfast cereals, and I remember one day when I was grocery shopping with Dave, because Dave didn't grocery shop really. I said, okay, and I watched him just walk and pick up. And he was picking based on the image on the box because you can tell a book by its cover. And I said, do you ever read the ingredients? And he looked at me and he said, it's cereal. Why, yes, boys and girls, it is. But do you know what's in it? And he said, I don't know, oats, wheat, something, sugar. And I said, wait, read the back. And he turned it over and read the back. And I said, tell me how many words you can't say. And I said, I have a rule of thumb. If I can't say the word, I'm not eating it, whatever it is. If all the consonants are all packed at the beginning or in the middle or at the end, I'm out. And it's not good for us to eat a whole bunch of fake stuff. You know, I remember talking to a doctor once who said, as a rule of thumb, never eat pink meat. And I said, what, you mean rare steak? No, the processed meat. Processed means they shoved stuff into it so it would last a long time. The way they used to similarly cure salt, and that's how you could travel with salt pork and salt this and salt that, because the salt preserved it. So I think a lot of people are not paying attention to what they're doing to themselves. You know, nobody holds us at gunpoint and marches us force march into the grocery store and says, here, buy a bunch of this stuff that's got nothing actual food in it. So when people get angry and they boycott the manufacturer's only one partner in the game. We're the other part, just saying. So that kind of leads me to the conversation today, after being all holier than thou, high and mighty and looking down from a great height. Sorry about that. Before I start, I'll say who I am and who I think I am, for those of us who are just joining me. My name's Abby Hagyard, and I landed sideways, backwards, kind of accidentally on purpose into show business quite a few years ago, and had the very great good fortune to have fairly decent timing, because just as I arrived, shows opened up and opportunities opened up. And I was the one who happened to be standing there. And people would say, can you do this? Yeah. Would you like to? Do you pay money? Yes. And there it was. And it was a synchronicity, you know, it was a lovely, lovely opportunity to do all those things. As a result of that, there is a certain amount of awareness of the jobs I used to have and the roles I used to play, because people were very, very committed fans of the shows, and for which we are all very grateful. And so there is a certain interest in who I am and where I am and what I'm doing now and what on earth am I talking about. And so I started planning to do these videos as a way to introduce an idea that I have, that there is something I know how to do that is helpful. There's a lot of things I know how to do that are not remotely helpful. This one is helpful. So the concept that I've developed is something I'm calling pivotry in motion. And the idea is a mindset reset, an attitude shift. Wait a minute, I think I want to think about this instead now, kind of thing. Becoming aware of the way we process information as opposed to food, and then being confident in ourselves that if we did it before, we can do it again. And I know that from my personal experience as a military brat and then getting into show business, that is how you survive and thrive. Resilience, flexibility, confidence, and a pretty good memory of what I did last time and where we went. Viking heritage as well, I guess. So because I know how to do it, and because I've taught people and they've valued the teaching, they've used it, they've taken it, they've learned it and applied it in their lives, I said to myself, I think maybe this is a good time to tell everybody else and start a program, do some workshops, do some training, take on some clients, write some books, so that people see how talented and versatile and clever we already are. Because frankly, Scarlett, I do not appreciate people saying, you have to be this, you have to do this, you have to do more to be more. It makes me want to hand them a fish just so that they go, ugh. Because that's exactly how it feels when somebody tells me that who I am and what I am is not enough as I am. One of the things about, excuse me, the Care Bears, and You Can't Do That on Television, and Teddy Ruxpin for that matter, was that these shows were predicated on the idea that the kids are perfect. It doesn't mean they don't have to try. It means that who they are as they are is exactly what they're supposed to do and be. There isn't more. Now, do your homework and learn your lines and show up on time. And for God's sake, don't cut your hair without permission. However, you yourself, you're awesome. And we don't spend enough time saying that to people. We spend far too much time telling people what's wrong with them and how they don't measure up. And why we think we have the inside track on what's wrong with them, when we ourselves could stand a few minutes staring in the mirror and saying, oh yeah, that. I don't know. So anyway, that's the plan for these videos. And I hope that you are enjoying it. And I hope that you are liking the trajectory of this plot and the characters that we meet along the way. So just before I begin, I want to say good morning to those of you who got spooked by Facebook's glitch yesterday, who decided to watch on YouTube or watching on LinkedIn. Good morning. It's wonderful that you're joining me, however you're joining me. I just can't see the comments that you make because they're not available to me in real time, because this is directed first to Facebook. But I know you're out there. I can hear you smiling. So I'm going to carry on. All right. One more sip of coffee and then we're on our way. Okay. Every single thing we do has an equal opposite. It's a law of physics. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Every single thing we do has an opposite equal. It's not debatable. It simply is. And that means that if we've ever been happy, we've also been sad. It means that if we've ever been clever, we've also been dim. And I have clear memories of both of those. And so every single thing that we lean in with, we also lean back from. We resist as hard as we choose. It's the nature of the universe, yin yang. Because that is true, it is also true that however many moods we have, that lean us one way, we have the same number that lean us the other way. It means that for every tribe we join, Camera Club, the Let's Go Shopping Club, how many different kinds of martinis can I make on a Thursday? Whatever club we join, whatever mood, attitude, identity we bring to that tribe, to that group, to that interest niche, whatever we bring, we also bring the opposite. So it means that every single role we play, we're actually two, right? All the time. So just for a moment, think about all the people think we are. You know, our parents think of us as their offspring. Our siblings think of us as the annoying one in the house, or the hero. The neighbor thinks of us as the person who could cut their grass a little more often. The convenience store where we go in and pick up a lottery ticket when we pay for our gas, they see us as cheerful or curious or complaining or clumsy. Every single tribe, co-workers, colleagues, people who we employ, suppliers, providers, clients, people we pass on the street, people in the stadiums, people in stores, people in line. Everyone sees a version of us. Every single time, it's slightly different. When you think about it, every single time, it's slightly different. Why? Because we're responding to the situation, our mood about the situation, and the people in it. And the people change, and the situation changes, and our mood changes. And because those things change, the way we behave changes, because it's all connected. This makes all kinds of sense. And I know you already know it. The question you want to know is, where are they? How do I go get the ones I want when I want them? And so here's the answer. Every single thing that we do, every single action we take, every single event we're part of becomes a story, right? I'm telling you stories in every one of these videos. The time my dad did this, the time my mom did that, the time I fell backwards off the time I walked out of a department store with the entire back of my skirt caught in my pantyhose. They're all stories, aren't they? And I'm a good storyteller. Vikings were brilliant storytellers. They didn't have written language, so they told stories. And we all tell stories. The slogan on my Age Publisher Boutique service is, our stories tell us who we are. They hold the key to our immortality. All of this is true, correct? Okay. So here's how you find a character. Here's how you find a personality. Here's how you find an alter ego. Here's how you remember how it felt. Here's how you do it again. You tell the story. Sorry about that itchy thing. What does an itchy ear mean? It means I'm listening to an idiot? No, that's not it. It can't be it. Every time you want to know where that quality in you is, think of a time when you felt that way. When was the last time you felt strong? When was the last time you felt happy? When was the last time you felt complicated? When was the last time you felt, oh, thank God that's over? When was the last time? You remember it? Okay, tell it to me. Write down a couple of words. You know how they do these things in Google? You need keywords for searching. Okay, keyword, lampshade. Water balloon, flaming chainsaws, pants on fire, incredibly surprised, pony on the birthday, sadly allergic to ponies. Every single episode in our lives, every single one, contains a version of us that is an alter ego. Mom. Well, that's nice, dear. What's that, dear? Oh, for heaven's sakes, you can't put your brother in the microwave. We're just sitting down to dinner. Think of the mess. Think of the mess. The librarian. What do you want? Why do they always have so many children in this school? Totally different characters. Friend bear. This looks like a job for friend bear. Oh. Totally different. How do I go get them? I remember them. I remember them. I remember those moments. I remember the script. I remember the rehearsal. I remember some kid doing some crazy thing, some member of the crew playing a practical joke. I remember the story. Am I in it? Yes. Am I in it? If I'm in it, then I can remember who I was in that moment, can't I? I don't have to tell the story. Well, yeah, I do. Compulsive for me, but we don't have to tell the world the story. We just remember the moment. Conversation with 2 clients recently. I don't know why my head is spinning. Put your hand on top of it. What? Put your hand on top of your head. I can't do that. Why? I'll look like an idiot. Try it. We're on the phone. I can't see the client. Try it. I hear laughter. Are you doing it? Yes. Why are you laughing? I feel silly. Okay. Are you spinning? No. You're welcome. Abby! That's a story. When was the last time you were spinning and I told you to put your hand on the top of your head? How did you feel? Oh my God. Well, I didn't believe you. And then I realized it was working. And then I felt like an idiot. Yeah. It was working though. You weren't spinning? That's right. Okay. So how many moods did you shift through in that 30 seconds? You were spinning. I said, do this. You were shocked and amazed. You tried it because you were also curious. And then you realized it was working. You also realized how silly you felt with your hand on top of your head. And then you were laughing. How many versions of you was that? You know what? It is, little miss. The power of silliness is underestimated. Silliness is a major, major contender. I agree with you 11 billion%. I find, I don't know if this is you, I find that when I'm silly, people don't have a comeback. For God's sake, Abby. So, where you need to go when you want to find a certain quality in you, when you say, I'm just so exhausted, I'm just so unhappy, I feel so lost, I need a hug, I feel like I need a mom. I wish I had that. Okay. So think about the time your child said, thanks, Mom. Think about that. I have 102 children that I worked with over the run of the shows. As one of the people who's part of this program says, you have a lot more kids than that, Mom. And every so often, one of them just sends me a little message and says, I had a tough day. I remembered our conversation. Thanks, Mom. And all of a sudden, I'm right back in our conversation. I'm right back being there with that person. I've been told many times after doing or saying something silly, I don't even know what to say to that. I know. The power power of silly. I think the Monty Python people were onto something. The silly walk. When we need to go and find something, when we are in a state where we're not happy, where it's complicated, where we feel overwhelmed, where we feel that we have been pushed to a place that we don't like and we can't get out, and we are frustrated, we shift out of thinking and into pure emotion, and we have fight, flight, freeze, hide, comply. And we are panicking, and we don't know when it's going to end. And because we're panicking, we can't hear words. I don't know if people actually make that connection, and I think maybe it's valuable to say so. The emotional brain, the old subconscious brain, has been in existence long before we had words. When it is in charge, when it is fueling us with a rush of adrenaline, fueled by some survival emotion, some survival energy, we don't understand words. It's not that we can't hear them, we don't know what they mean. The thinking brain is not in charge. It can't override and step in and say, oh, for heaven's sakes. And that's why in an altercation, when somebody is panicking, yelling at them or talking to them does nothing, because they can't hear words. They can't hear the meaning of the words. They can't process the meaning of the words. They can't respond to the words because they're in full fight, flight, freeze, hide, comply. It's pre-language. Yelling at them is our frustration with them to just hurry up and get over it, get to a safe space, because we can't get them there. And our frustration is based on something that we don't quite understand, and that is we can't control how other people feel. We can introduce elements that create surprise, and surprise is a terrific disruptor, because surprise stops momentum. It is not a thinking thing. It is a cross purposes emotion. If you're angry, if you're afraid, if you're hysterically happy, if you're completely at peace, and you have whichever one of those emotions that is associated with that going on, and surprise cuts through it doesn't hit you head on, it comes from the side, it blindsides you. Surprise overrides all the others. Silliness is one of those surprise elements, because, as you said, they don't know what to do with it. They weren't prepared. If they knew you were going to do something surprising and silly, they could prepare. But everybody was talking about physics. Everybody was talking about the lunchroom and how somebody needs to start cleaning that place up. And if you walk in wearing a silly hat, dancing and chewing gum, it's such a non sequitur that people don't know what to do with it, because our brains were here. What is that? I have no idea. And now I can't remember what I was talking about. In each of these stories that I'm relating to you, in every single one, if you just pause and think how you felt in the last 5 minutes of what I've been saying to you. Remember the last time we did something together. Remember some place we were, or remember you tuned in and you said, oh gosh, I wonder if I'm in time to watch Happy's Live. Maybe I'll watch it later. I'm feeling the need for, I'm down a quart of silliness. I need my injection today. Okay. How did you feel? What mood were you in? when you heard me say something and you laughed, or you thought about it, or you wrote something down? What was going on in your head? Can you remember? I'll tell you something. These journals that I have, I have, can you see it in the back? I have my later folder. It's a journal, great big journal. I write stuff down. I also, these are my notes I'm writing every day, all the time. And I have it right beside the computer, because who knows when ideas are going to strike. I have it, I take it with me when I go to bed, and I have it on a table beside the bed, because I have spent too many times in my younger life saying, I'll remember that in the morning. Yeah. And I don't. And then I'm kicking things for the next few hours. We know where they are if we realize that our characters are part of a story. Our alter egos play a role in every story we're in, that we're part of. Every event, all day. Tell me about Wednesday. Tell me what you did when all of a sudden Facebook wasn't. Tell me how you panicked when you couldn't log back in. I had this crazy panicky conversation with someone who said, yeah, but I can't get in. But I put in my login and it wouldn't accept it. And I kept saying, it's offline. Well, why did it send me an email? Robot. You know how out of office? I'm sorry, I can't come to the phone right now. I'm on vacation. That's pre-recorded, right? Yeah. Okay. Okay, what? Okay, Facebook has pre-recorded. Oh, so what do I do? Something else? What do you mean? Something else. Do something else. It's offline. It's broken temporarily. Well, what if they don't fix it? And I said, oh, darling, believe me, the money they're losing, they're hemorrhaging. They got 11 billion people tap dancing as fast as they can. Yeah. You want to ask them later what their mood was and which personality they had yesterday? The Mormon Tabernacle Choir shouts the word panic, frantic. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. We know where our alter egos are. They're in our stories. Well, where are the stories? Where are they? They're in here. Well, how am I supposed to get them? How do you remember a story? I don't know. They just come. Okay, so do you want them to come on purpose? Yeah. Get a notebook. Write down this statement. What was that time when I was the smartest person in the room? How did that story go? Write it down. Every time you see the notebook, look at it. Read it out loud. Let it go. Don't force it. Do other stuff. All of a sudden, you'll be doing something, and there it will be. In that moment, right away, go back to that notebook and write down the story. The time I this. That's it. Those are the keywords you need. How do I find the strong, brave version of me? Write it down. When was I strong and brave? What was going on? What was that story I used to tell? Write it down. What was that story I used to tell? Who did I tell it to? Who was I telling a story about being strong and brave? Write it down. Write that down. Who was I telling the story? And then let it go. Go away. Do your stuff. Go get groceries. Fix a tire. At some point, something. That's the time. Right. You didn't bring the notebook? Fine. Get a pen, get something, and just write down. The story was the end table. And they're alive and well. Is that alter ego? Hey, how you doing? Good to see you. Alive and well. There's no past or future. In our memory banks, it's the present. Every single story. Subconscious brain only knows the present. every single story we have and every character we are in every one of those stories is present. That's how we find them. We welcome them back. Talking about old times. I'm not quite sure why people say talking about old times. Well, because it was a long time ago. No, it wasn't. In our thinking brain that cares that it's 10 past 2, sure. But in the real brain, in the millions of year old brain, it's now. Everything is now. People look in the mirror and see a version of them they don't feel like on the inside. That's because what they're looking at is physically now. The person on the inside is emotionally and energetically now as well. That's the how do I look like that if I feel like this? Well, if you feel like this, then you should probably take care of how you look like that. My skin is so dry. Okay, then you could put cream on it. Just saying. They sell cream. You don't want to use cream. I suppose you could use lard. Actually, you know what you can use? Olive oil. Very thick. Blot it after you slip through your clothes, slip through doorways, leave mess everywhere. There are solutions. The person on the inside has to look after the person on the outside. This is the box. This is the box. This is the container. And we're on the inside. If the box looks ragged and dusty and scuffed around the corners, who is in charge of that? We are. We're in charge of all the moods and all the attitudes and all of the abilities that we need at any given moment in time. And the reason people are panicking, the reason people are reverting to their toddler self, to their toddler trauma, terror, tantrum, tired, whatever it is they do, is that the last time somebody said, come here, honey, and gave them a hug, that's how old they were. And our toddler self is alive and well. Our inner child is alive and well. Who do you think? Who do you think buys the shoes? It's inner me, actually. All of them. Ooh, they vote. Next thing I know, Amazon has said your package is on its way. So the story today is this. Access can be restored. That's the story today. Access can be restored. We have to want it, and we have to be prepared to do something about it. If I lost access to one of my social media platforms and I wanted to get in touch with one of the friends on those platforms that I had not gone to the extent of saying, let's become actual friends. Is there another way to contact you, reach you beyond this social media platform? Do we do that? If we don't do that, then we don't keep them. Whose fault is that? It's not Facebook's fault. It's us. Remember the time I had 3,000 friends and all of a sudden there was no one there? Yes, I do. I do. How long did it last? I don't know, a couple of hours, after I realized that something was off. You know how I realized something was off? I looked up one of the news channels. I Googled a news channel, and it said worldwide outage of this, and this platform. And I thought, look at that. So I went on the other platforms that weren't out, and I said, hi, everybody, it's me. I'm just checking in. I hope everybody's okay. It appears that some of the platforms are down, and I hope we're all still together on this, and I hope we're feeling okay. And I actually had people saying, well, thanks. That was great to see. Yeah, I was kind of worried. We miss each other when we're gone. We miss the ease and the comfort. Why? Why do we miss it? Why do we miss it? We miss it because it brings us back to a memory of the last time. It brings us back to the memory of that version of us in that last time. We are actually going and retrieving that alter ego. We just don't realize it. So pivotry in motion is my way of saying there is a method, there is a process, there is a strategy that we all use all the time. We use it automatically. And because it's automatic, we don't think about it. We don't consciously think about it. And when we're in a panic state and we think, I can't, how do I? We're not able to calm down and say, oh, I remember. I know how to do that. Unless we practice. Unless we practice. I'm extremely good at a few things. I'm extremely not good at a few things. And in both cases, it's because I practice. I don't intend to practice the things that I'm not good at. They kind of happen without me paying attention. Is it my fault? Sure, I should be paying attention. Am I trying harder? Yes, I am trying hard. The things I'm really good at, that I'm pleased with and proud of, I practice those too. All the time, every day. Every day. Not because I have to, it's just the way I live, the way I am. Is that way I'm gooder at it than a lot of people? Yes. Am I wise about these things because I'm naturally brilliant? No. I'm wise about these things because they've happened enough times that I've paid attention. And I've said, oh, look, when you put that next to that, you get this. Let's try it again. Yes, you get the same outcome. Isn't that interesting? Do we like the outcome? No. Then let's not do this with this. And it's taken me a long time to know these things. One of the things I want to talk about when I start doing my workshops, when I start saying, okay, we're going to do a thing, and if you want to sign in, you need to sign in, and we need to get this orchestrated because I want interaction here. One of the things we're going to talk about is the story. Is what the story is that we are using in this moment to navigate where we are. And I use navigate because it's a Viking trait, and because Vikings who circumnavigated the world didn't have a written language when they were doing that. They told each other where to go and when by telling stories. We were 3 days before we saw, so they didn't have a map and say it was how many miles or kilometers or inches or fathoms or whatever. They said it was 3 days before we saw and there was a following wind. Okay. So armed with that story, people would then get in their boats and find the same destination. If the story was flawed, we thought it was 3 days and then we remembered we were becalmed for one of them. All right. So essentially somebody hit the pause button and 1 day went by where nothing happened. Fair enough. So it was actually only 2 days of travel. Okay. If nobody mentioned that they were becalmed, then the people listening to the story were told an incorrect story. And they based everything that they planned for on an incomplete, incorrect, not verified story. Not a deliberate lie. Just, stuff happened. It's been a long time since that trip, and we were becalmed. I would have written it down, except that, oh yeah. So, and by the way, you're telling a story, so it didn't happen at 4 o'clock. It was dark already. Oh, right. All right. No, it was 4 o'clock because it was November. Oh, right. So fact checking to get the story right in the telling. Also fact checking in the living our lives today by the story of yesterday. When somebody says to me, I was a terrible child, what makes you say that? Oh, my mother always said I was a terrible child. Everybody said it. Well, that doesn't make it true. What were you doing? I was always asking why. That's a fairly harsh judgment then by everybody. You were curious. You wanted knowledge. What do they think childhood is for God's sake? Telling you were a terrible child isn't a reflection on you. It's a reflection on them. They don't know how to deal with children. No, that can't be right. It is. It is. Trust me. If anybody doesn't know how to deal with children, well, why would they say that to me? Because that's all they knew. They said it randomly. You took it as gospel. You have lived your whole life believing that you were a terrible child and therefore probably a useless adult. Neither is true. I can tell you why neither is true. Because you can't just be one thing. If you are terrible sometimes, physics steps in. If you're terrible, you also have to be wonderful. Everything has its opposite equal. So if somebody tells you unequivocally, you're this, and they don't say, and you're also that, then they're not telling the whole story, and they're not paying attention, and they don't understand physics. So you can take it personally, say, they don't like me. Why doesn't anybody like me? No, it's not about you. They don't understand physics. In the moment that they remember you were awful, okay, they weren't with you every moment. They only remember what they remember. And by the way, I bet they were darling too all the time. So our alter egos are the person we called up from our memory banks. This is the subconscious brain saying, go fetch. And that alter ego heading off. An alter ego is the person, the quality in us that the subconscious brain calls up to deal with a situation. And when the situation has been dealt with, the alter ego goes back to where it was in a story. And the subconscious brain calls out another alter ego. And all of those alter egos, they're not fake. They're not, okay, but where's Abby? Abby is the sum of all my separate parts. We are all the sum of our separate parts, of our separate alter egos. Like that beautiful, beautiful rose-cut diamond, with all the facets. And if you put it on a little rotator and it spins and the light catches each facet, every time it spins, that facet lights up. That's why diamonds look like they sparkle. From a distance, so do we. From a distance, so do we. So that is the story today, my lovelies. In this story today, I am flawed teacher. wisdom and whimsy, and you are many things. And together we're incredible. So I've been working on, just to wrap up because, oh, look at the time. I've been working on the live show that's going to be part of the launch of the Pivotry books and the book launch and whatnot. And I came up with something really fun, and I can't wait for you to see it because it's just such a, it's cool. When I thought of it yesterday and I wrote it down, I looked at it and I thought, fabulous. It's going to be amazing. So that's in the works. I finally got some time in between the projects that are come and visit me and clients saying, yeah, and I've been working on the books, on our Pivotry books. And those are coming along beautifully. And I'm very excited about those as well. So that's my agenda. Have I been going out and about much lately? No, I've been working and loving every minute of it. Because work is not toil. Work is a treasure. And I treasure every minute of it. So as I wrap up today, for those of you who chose to watch on another platform, felt that you needed to on another platform, and therefore I didn't get to see your comments, it's quite all right. I understand. We have to shift. We have to be resilient. We have to be flexible. Why? It's not because somebody told us to. It's because that's the way it works. That's the way it is. Right? So the weekend is upon us. We have much to do, places to go, people to see. I just saw a weather forecast update because it was saying sunny, 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 yay, sunny. And now it says heavy snow. Or cheesecake. Mother Nature has alter egos too. So it's going to be a busy weekend. It's going to be a complicated weekend. And it's going to be a wonderful weekend. And we're all going to come back from it with our stories. So between now and next week, I would like you to do something for you. And if you feel inclined, let me know how it worked. Anytime you're feeling just slightly out of a feeling of control, slightly rudderless, let's say that, not control, rudderless, just feeling slightly adrift, that the currents are wonky, that the ripples are a little rougher than you like. I want you to do this for me. I want you to put your hand on your head. Okay? It feels very silly when you do it, but just, and while you do it, you say, Abby said, this actually works. And then just count to 3. 1, 2, 3. And then take your hand off your head. Let me know what happens. All right. And in the meantime, the drill is, for those of you just joining us, the drill is 2 parts. Be good to you. You're always with you. Be good to you. And hug your loved ones because they love you back and they deserve a hug. Fair enough? Awesome. All right then. Thank you for watching. It means everything. Oh yeah, listen, the whole YouTube thing, tell your friends. We have 310. Let's get to 350. Let's see if we can do that. All right? Okay.